So some of you have no idea or experience with 3D modeling software. And I totally recommend you guys go through our design stuff, our design course, because we go through the 3D design part of things, and we actually talk about how meshes are created and how you can export them and bring them into Unreal. But I'll give you guys a very, very quick crash course, right? Because this is important to understand how meshes work. So there are two kinds of meshes. I'm gonna just increase the size of our text. All right. So there are two kinds of meshes. The first one is a static mesh. Right. Let's see if I can increase the size so you can see. Okay, that's great. So there's a static mesh and there is a skeletal mesh. Right, there are two kinds of meshes, and you guys need to understand the difference between the two kinds of meshes. A static mesh could be a chair, right? So I'm just going to draw a chair, and this chair is basically static. It does nothing. It's just a piece of hunk. It's like a prop. You just throw it in the scene, and if you add collision to it, then it blocks movement, and if you add physics to it, then it can be thrown away or moved around and stuff like that. But there's another kind of mesh called a skeletal mesh, which basically is used mostly for humans and creatures that you want to animate, right? So I'm just going to draw a man here. Give me a second while I embarrass myself. So a skeletal mesh is exactly like a static mesh, but the skeletal mesh has a bone structure. So inside this mesh, you've got a few bones, right? You've got the neck bone, the spine bone. It's exactly where we kind of spawned our fire starter, right? So you got these bones, right? And this is what makes a skeletal mesh animatable, right? So you got this entire bone structure that's hiding under the skeletal mesh, and you can have animations on top of this. So just giving you some background on this, you got the skeleton. The skeleton, let me just write that down. You got a skeleton, right? The skeleton has some mesh on top of it, and then the mesh has animations on it, right? So this is generally the structure of how a skeletal mesh works. And in Unreal, so far we worked with static meshes, but today we're going to start working with skeletal meshes, right? So let's get started. All right, so coming back to our level, I've removed our fire starter, cleared the level a little bit, and I'm just going to play once. And you see this main character, and while this main character is nice, it's just, this is not the character that I want. I want some new type of character, right? I'm bored of seeing this guy's shiny exterior. So I'm just going to press escape, and we're going to go online and look for new characters. Now remember that this character that we have here has a particular skeleton, and to look at it, all I have to do is go into the mannequin folder. This is automatically created for you if you're using the third-person template. I go to animations, actually I go to character, and I go to mesh, and I find the actual skeletal mesh, and I find the actual skeleton. So remember, skeleton, and then there's a skeletal mesh on top of the skeleton, and then if you go to animations, you'll find the animation of that skeletal mesh, right? So we have all three, and what we're trying to do in this episode is we don't even want to work with the animations of the mesh. I want to do it all from scratch so that you guys understand. We're going to go online and we're going to find a new character with a new mesh, right, with new animations. So one place where I found where you can actually get these characters is a place called Mixamo. That's mixamo.com. Right, this is by Adobe and it's free. Surprisingly, Adobe doesn't put out too much stuff for free, but this is free, and you're able to download absolutely any character you want. It's a treat to work with, and it gives you animations for those characters too. In fact, you could be smart enough and you can upload your own characters if you guys know how to do 3D modeling, and as long as it's got a mesh, as long as it's got a skeleton that is compatible with these animations, then you can actually export the animations without creating the animations yourself. It's very, very handy tool. Right, so just so you know, Mixamo has like 3 pages of characters. It's not too much, but at the same time, you have to understand that if you really want to create your own characters, the ideal way to do it is to create it using Blender or Maya or 3ds Max. You got to make it from scratch, or you can use another tool called Adobe Fuse. In fact, in our mentorships, we do a little work with Adobe Fuse so that you are able to create any character you want with any sort of clothing, with any sort of animation. So definitely join the mentorships if you're looking for a more expanded version of this. But this is good enough, right? This is enough to kind of drive the basics and the concepts into you. So remember I told you we want somebody who looks a little bit Indian, right? And I went through all of these 3 pages, and the only person that I could find that was sort of Indian looking was this guy. It's on page 3. He's called Adam, right? And he looks interesting. I know he's wearing some sweatpants, and he looks like he's just come from the gym, but he looks somewhat like he's from Delhi. Now the only thing is Unreal has a little bit of a problem with hair and beard from Mixamo, so when we import this character we're going to lose both of it. But I still feel like this guy would be a good base character for us to kind of have. He looks ordinary, and he looks like somebody who just, he just looks like an average Delhi dude who got superpowers suddenly. So we'll pick this guy, and all you have to do is press the download button. And when you press the download button, the format you want to download in is FBX. Right, so you select FBX, and the pose you select is original pose. Right, so I want you to set these two and press the download button, and it's just going to download. You might have to log in before you download, and I've obviously already downloaded this asset, so I'm not going to download him again. But yeah, you can download this guy, and that should be good enough. So what we're going to do in Unreal is we are going to create a new folder. We'll call it Delhi Man. Right, so we'll go inside, and we'll import this character into here. So I'm just going to go to my folder where all of this stuff is. Let's go to my folder. Downloads. Let's find the character. So this is the character. I'm just going to take the character and drag him into the folder. Now here's the thing, right? We want to, of course, import the skeletal mesh. We want to import the mesh and let everything else be as it is. You don't need to change anything at all. The skeleton, we have the old skeleton that we can use. This is for the mannequin. This is for that, that white color character. We don't want that. We want this to generate its own skeleton. So we're just going to leave this blank. And of course, materials, we want to import the textures. So I've checked that up, and I'm just going to press the import button. Right, this is going to take a little bit of time. Still happening. Still going on. You guys can probably just scrub the timer and go to wherever the character is already imported. I'll have to wait. Hopefully we can cut out this section, but we don't want to do too much editing, because then that would just take, it would just take us forever to kind of put up the episodes if we had to edit every episode. So I'm literally shooting all of this live. It's happening in real time. Actually, let this go on. I'm going to show you what else we need. So we have this character, and this character has no animations, right? He's basically, there's no frames. It's 0/0, and he's not doing anything. But we need some simple animations. We at least need the animations for walk. So let's go to animations. All right, we just click on the animations button. Now I want to do some things, right? I want to make sure that we have animations when he's walking slowly. I also want to make sure we have animations when he's walking really fast, maybe running. I want to have some animations for when he's walking backwards, and I want to have an animation for when he's running backwards. At least these, and then maybe an animation for punch. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look for walk, right? So I think we have a simple walking animation. There are many. You can choose whichever you want, and I'm just going to zoom out. And as you can see, he's walking. But we don't want him to change position while walking. We've already written the code for that in Unreal, or rather it comes by default. So I'm just going to click on in place, right? I just want him to walk in place, because then we will move him through the engine, right? We'll do some magic there. So I want to download this. I'm going to press download. One setting that you need to do is you need to change from with skin to without skin. The skin is essentially the Adobe Mixamo's way of saying, do you want the mesh and the materials again? We don't want the mesh and materials of the skeleton again. We already have that. So select without skin. Remember, this is important. Otherwise, your animations will not work. And press download. Right, so we're downloading that. Right, we need, let's just do that, yeah. Save this. We want to run. Right, so let's have running. Again, select in place. He looks a little bit stupid, but that's okay. Without skin again, downloading that. we need the animation for walk backward, definitely. Remember, in place. Okay, without skin again, downloading that. Saving that. We need the animation for run backward. In place again. Okay, it's good. Without skin, download. So that should be good. I mean, we have enough for us to go with. Maybe one punch. We can pick up one punch because we might need a punch a little later. Some nice little punch. I think this one's really good. There's a nice loading animation, and then there's a punch. Okay, download this without skin again. Bam. Okay. Sweet. So let's go back to Unreal. It should have imported our guy by now. And as you can see, it imported not just the character and the skeleton, but it also imported all of the materials. So it's imported the diffuse, the normal, the glossiness, and this is all for the head. I'm just going to open the character and show you what came. Alright, so like I said, Unreal has a little bit of a problem with beard and hair. You need to do some additional setting for that, which we're not going to do. It's not worth it. It's a very long process. But we have this character, and if you click on the skeleton tree, you can see his entire skeleton. Right? You can see all the different parts, the pinky, the the fingers, the toes, everything is here, right, in the skeleton tree. So we know that we have a mesh and we have a skeleton associated with the mesh. So this is our character. Now what we're going to do is we are going to import the animations. So I'm going to go back. I'm going to go to downloads, right, and I'm going to get in all of these. So hook punch, run backward, walking backward, walking one, and I think running. I think these are the things we want, right? Yeah. So I'm just going to pull this in and drag it into this. And what I want to do is I want to set the skeleton to be the character skeleton. This has been created newly, as you can see, the character skeleton. And definitely don't select the mannequin skeleton because it will be the wrong skeleton and your animations will be wrong. Just choose the character skeleton, okay? And we don't need anything else, just press import all. Right, so it's going to import all of your animations, right? The walk, run, and we'll see some of these animations in action. Right? So you see there's running, right? Beautiful animation. So we've got all these animations, but if we press play, we'll see that we still have the same old character. We still have the same old character, and we want to change this character, right? So to change this character, what we're going to do is we are going to go to our third-person BP, blueprints, third-person character, and we are simply going to go to the viewport, go to mesh, and we're going to change the mesh from sk_mannequin to our new character, right? And one thing that I've done, which is I've changed the scale of the character to, instead of 111, I've changed to 1.1, 1.1, 1.1. Right, just scaling him a little bit to give him some height because the Mixamo characters are slightly small, to be honest. Right, so now if I press play, I have this character, and as you can see, everything works on the character, but there's no, there are no animations. So we'll add some animations in the next episode. I think we're running out of time on this one. So I hope you guys are excited. Bye-bye.